the era that we are living, AI can write the code, most of it, but it will not sell it to the maintainer just yet. Like, why do you need it? Because XYZ made the prompt and I wrote it. Like, that kind of an argument where you also need to work with the other person, that's still something that is a human skill, and it's always been important. And I think we are repeating it like so many times that most of the challenges have nothing to do with technology. If it was a technology challenge, we would have solved it a long time ago. It's about person A and person B cannot agree on something. That is usually the problem that I see. Like, I remember I did personally drive the development of one feature in OpenStack that required buy-in from 2 project teams. It took 3 years. I think the feature proposal sort of ate up 2 people within Ericsson before then. Like, person A, they just couldn't push it through. Person B, they couldn't push it through. And then I was like, okay, I guess I gotta make this work now. And it took me 3 years, but it got implemented. And I gotta say that the implementation work definitely did not take 3 years. It was kind of, I think, 2.5 years of negotiations that the user still wants this thing, and you can do it here and there, but not in this project. Why? And then once the maintainer teams realize that I'm not going to go away, then we found a way to make it work, and we made it work, and it's there. I think it probably is still there, and I keep apologizing for it for everyone. Yeah,
Well, it's
that feature is
interesting.
my fault, that it's there, but it was a lot of negotiations. And yeah, as both of you are saying, that skill is not taught in computer science classes at all.
No.
Like, no.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's,
I'm
I
not.
mean, it's interesting that again, the Linux community's been around for somewhere between 30 and 35 years at this point, and Linus, frequently mentions that the reason that he has his maintainers conference is not to solve technical issues; it's to solve the personal issues that flare up on the various channels, that the people are seeing different viewpoints, right? They're both very highly technically competent people, and they have very different opinions about a topic. And so it takes getting into a room, usually with a whiteboard involved, to say, in the end, there actually is common ground. Almost invariably, there is. It's just the communication is not getting through in those channels. So they need to go have a conversation. And so it's back to the hard part about it. The hardest part about the work is actually the collaboration and the personalities and getting through that, as opposed to the technology.
Yeah, and 100% goes for the corporate environment too. I mean,
Yep.
all the speeches I was giving within Ericsson, saying that, kind of doing the negotiation between, again, internal project teams, like figuring out how to work together, how to make sure that the deliverables are done, setting the priorities right, talking to the different layers of management, and trying to agree on something that is doable for the developers as well. Like, there's so much communication and planning and negotiations are going into any kind of an environment where more than one human being is required to make it work. So I think the fact that we are talking about how much of the soft skills students get out of these mentorship programs, I think that this is amazing, because they're learning these skills before they get their first jobs, or around that time when they are doing their first internships at a company, and they already have skills that maybe many other people at that company don't really have, or maybe they were building their skills through bad experiences. And that's much worse to try to navigate that on your own, compared to a somewhat monitored environment where the students actually get the help that they need, that they have someone to say that, okay, let's review that message before you send it, or as you say, that the group is working together on a response. I mean, I can't really imagine it in a corporate environment. Sometimes people are being sort of forced into the communication course, and they just taking a really deep breath and like, why do I have to sit through this? Like, I just
Well,
want to write
that
code.
might be what the computer science students are thinking too when they come into the classes. What is this soft skill thing? Why not? I'm a
Yeah.
technologist. Give me my computer. I'm done. That's all I need.
Yeah, but people are
Yeah.
still more receptive in that age and that, stage of
You
their
haven't
their
had
life.
children, Ildiko. Trust me. 17
I
to
mean, I
21, they don't listen to anything.
I know, but at least they are not, the grumpy, stubborn, middle-aged person who's being forced
Like,
into the same class,
okay.
mm,
trying to learn the same thing. I think there's still, more flexibility when you're a student at a younger age. So like if they are exposed to it, and they are in a learning environment, so at least they can accept that this is just something that is part of their learning experience, as opposed to saying that I'm in a professional environment and I'm forced to take a course to learn something that I think is BS on the first place. So I think that one is still more challenging, but it might be just my experience in the corporate communication course, watching a few people just like really not having it.
yeah, I think another thing that I think is like really compelling about like working with students in open source is they just get access to developers as like whole people and maintainers as whole people and community managers as whole people. Like I like it's something that stands out again on like course evaluations and program evaluations I've sent out is like just the impact of like being on a call with a developer that you've been communicating with for months and like respect and think they know everything, and having them like asking them a thoughtful question and having them say like, oh, I don't know, it's a really good question, you know, or
Mhm.
seeing like a developer get up in the middle of like a scrum call to like because their dog is making too much noise or their child is, having a tantrum. I think like those are just glimpses that like I don't think most undergraduates get to connect with people like in industry outside of open source because people are working their day jobs, and people in open source are too, but part of their day job is openness and supporting new contributors often. So I think that particularly like when I think about engaging like broader cross section of students in terms of like diversity and lived experience and background and race and gender, like I think that is so critical for people to see someone that they relate to somebody enough to think I could apply to that job, or like I could see myself working in this industry. Um, since a lot of students graduate with computer science degrees and leave the field, so I think it's just really neat to show these different who's here.
Yeah, and it's true, and it's when you have those first interactions with people that you absolutely respect because you've seen what their work is, and then they are human and they are caring about you actually getting to the answer that you're looking for. I've had both academic students as well as relatively young engineers have those experiences and be quite shocked at how approachable these people are, and it keeps them engaged.